Hello there, Friday Night Movie listeners. Welcome to our 53rd episode, to the Podiversary. Thank you so much to everybody who has been with us all year, everybody who has tweeted and sent messages and played along at home. We really appreciate it. And of course, we also appreciate all the phenomenal guests we've had during the year. We have an exciting year already in the works coming up, so there's more Friday Night Movie to come. Also want to say a huge thanks to our mom and dad, who have been our inspiration and, of course, raised us to be siblings that would come to the logical conclusion that starting a podcast making fun of each other is the way to express our love. A couple other things about this upcoming episode. We are going to reference director's commentary, if you will, that we did of our own home videos. We'll be posting those on Instagram and Twitter. You can check out my Instagram for these clips, or my Twitter, at pancake and the number 4 table. You can also follow the Friday Night Movie Twitter account, which is at Fry, F-R-I, Night Movie. And that is where we will be posting, and you can find out information about the video clips, because we may not be able to post the whole clips, so it'll give you links to where the longer clips are. The other thing I want to warn folks is that Lily starts off today's episode with an absolutely gross story. So if you are faint of heart or faint of stomach, I recommend skipping about 5 minutes in. Otherwise, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And here we go to the show. Here we are, and welcome to the 53rd episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, we are celebrating our 1-year Podiversary today. Yay! You guys can cheer. You can see me.
Yay!
Oh my God, that was the loudest. They were cheering on silent, ladies and gentlemen. And we're really excited. We are really grateful to everybody who's been listening all year, and really grateful for everybody who has sent in fun questions and recommendations for our Podiversary episode. And we have a jam-packed episode, yet we're still going to try to somehow keep it in a reasonable amount of time. But we're really excited to do this. And let's start with the traditional Friday Night Movie opening question. Lily, calling in from the Canary Islands. How are you?
I'm good. I have a pretty funny story that I have to share for this anniversary podcast. I just feel like both of you will really appreciate it. And in the spirit of bad parenting, which I feel like people really enjoyed from last week's episode, I just want to set the scene for you. My kid had not gone poopy in like 5 days. And
could we just intersperse? So when I was doing the Gold Nerds podcast, we were talking about how Bevy is
poopy.
And I explained how important how our grandmother growing up used to call the house to
make
check,
sure you've gone number 2.
Yeah,
like she wanted to make sure.
So I'm not crazy.
It was a worry.
Yeah.
You're not crazy, and we come from like
there's on our health.
There is a line of our family that is traditionally constipated. So like those in our family that have dealt with that, our grandmother.
Wait a minute,
people are concerned.
I don't mean to interrupt, but Shai, were you just drinking a Barks?
Yeah,
Don't they have caffeine?
No, not the diet ones. Anyway, so Lily, thank you for the validation. Continue. All right, your child has been backed up for days. A family tradition, specifically through you. You're really the line.
Yes, I passed this on. Yeah, on our.
Sorry, I thought we were sponsored by Diet A&W. That's why, but that's okay.
He's concerned about our fake sponsors.
Our fake sponsors just getting upset because now you're drinking a Diet Barks or whatever.
And so I just try to like put it out of my mind, because I was like, look, I don't want to have to give my kid a baby enema. I just want to let the nature take its course. I'm going to give him a ton of fruit and assume that it's going to work itself out.
And let's be clear, there are many stories that we haven't told yet that
involve an enema.
That involve an
Yeah.
enema.
And it ended an enema.
I'm very
in this
comfortable
household.
talking about enemas. and so I would just like, yeah, my mother-in-law's visiting. And so my mother-in-law's visiting, and
There's so much I'm not saying right now in order not to embarrass
me.
you. But I do want to say that I'm not saying a lot. That's all.
So you get points. So I find myself on a Saturday evening at a classical musical concert alone with my mother-in-law and my 2-year-old in the park. And
What?
and I was just sort of like, how did I get here on a Saturday evening? Where the hell is my husband surfing? And so it was like getting like late, and I was like, let's like pack it in. So as we're walking home from the park, there is a convenience store, but what you would call a dep if you're from Montreal. That is like and in the States, there is no correct, like a 7-Eleven, a Wawa, what do you call that?
Oh, a bodega?
Bodega?
That's
I
New
guess.
York.
No,
That's New York
no, but
specific.
but I feel like a dep is bigger than a bodega, isn't it?
A large bodega.
Let's be clear. When I was in
Anyway.
college, if I had the choice, I would have done all of my shopping at the dep.
Yeah.
You did.
And you technically, like the kind of convenience store I have, it's very small on the corner of my
You
apartment
can get
building.
everything you need there.
But you could totally survive. A college student would be fine.
Yeah.
And so we run in to grab some like sodas or like soft drinks for dinner. And my son like picks up a bag of chips, and I was like, okay, I'll get him some chips. And the man that owns it is the least friendly human being on the planet.
True.
And yeah, he's like never says hello. He's just like super serious. And I go there every day, but whatever. And we grab our stuff, and then my tiny little child is at the cash, and he stops, and he plants his feet in his spot, and he yells, "Mommy, caca!" And I was like, "Oh my god, now?" Yay! And my mother-in-law's like doing a jig. She's like, "Oh, he's making caca. It's so wonderful." And I'm like, "Great. Okay, all right. Like, let's go. Like, let's like get out of here, skadoodle. We're right next to the house. We'll just like run up home, and then you can do your biz at home." He goes, "No." And he refused to move.
Did he make you hold his hand? Because my favorite part is when he makes
sit
you
down
hold.
on the floor and hold both his hands. And I could not move. And he was like, "Mommy, sit down and hold my hands." Now people start lining up to go to the cash, and I keep like trying to pull him, and my mother's like, "Let's take him home." And I'm like, I don't want him to stop going to the bathroom. We've been waiting for this for 5 days. Like, I can't interrupt him. She's like, "Just let's go," like nodding her head like, "Let's go." And I'm like, I can't move him. And the guy behind the counter is like, looks at us, and he starts cracking up. And I was just like, really?
After all this time. After all this
Like
time.
11 years of living there.
I bet he's like, "Look, lady, this happens all the time."
And then I eventually just picked him up and made a break for it. Like, I figured, I was like, "You're done. You've done enough. We've been in here for half an hour."
Congratulations.
That's amazing. Lou.
Yeah.
That's incredible. All right, Becky, how are
Hilarious.
you doing?
I've had some highs and I've had some lows. My high being when Dr. Sexy Pants called me to check and see how my concussion is doing.
Nice.
That was a high of my week.
Well, it's me. I think I have to go back to the physician.
Yeah, something like that. And then my low was probably this morning, because it wasn't the middle of the night. I would say the wee hours of the morning at 4:30 a.m. when my daughter woke up screaming from teething pain, I mean, it was shrieking. It was blood-curdling scream from 4:30 to 5
Isn't
in the
it
morning.
so funny, Lily, how Becky's blood-curdling stream is probably Miri just being like super, super cute and snuggly.
I have to be honest, she was also kind of really snuggly.
Yeah,
so we gave her some Motrin, and it kind of helped, and she was still crying. So we just brought her into bed, and she snuggled up against my boobies and like fell asleep for an hour, and it was so cute.
Hard parenting with Becky.
So it was kind of like a mix of low and high.
Before we ask Shai for the first time in a year how he's doing, I'm just going to say that my kid also learned the word fuck in Spanish. Yeah. Not for me, amazingly, because I swear all the time, but I'm pretty sure my brother-in-law, which is hilarious, and has
Uncle
been
Chicky.
has been saying it sort of like quietly, and everybody's sort of like, "Wait, what?" And like when you do the double take, no, I'm sure he didn't say that. And then yesterday, Costa picks him up out of his bed, and they go into the kitchen, and Costa was holding his cup of coffee, and he spilled a bit of coffee, and Ari just goes, "Daddy, fuck." What? And Costa's like, "What did you just say?" He's like, "Daddy, hold it." Right. But Coach is like, you cannot say that. And he's like, hold it. It was really funny. And he's been saying it nonstop. And it's just like, it's a joy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so how am I?
How are you?
How am I doing?
How are you, Shai?
Before we get into our all of our
Oh my God, so glad you're
Are you going to give us like a year recap of how you've been doing?
I would just want to thank you both for having done this. We started practicing this over a year ago when we were on the RV trip, but now here we are, 53 episodes in. We haven't missed a week. There have been babies born. There have been family vacations taken. There have been
multiple travels, around the world travels.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really exciting. But in terms of what's going on with me, I have a bunch of movies to talk about in the What We Were Watching segment. But what I did yesterday touches on two really interesting themes that I think have come up recently. And they involve ice skating and children's television. Because we talked about Death to Smoochie on the episode that Ash was on, and we talked about I, Tonya earlier this year in an earlier episode. And what we went to yesterday was Disney on Ice.
Sorry.
Oh, Lily, please get him to curse.
What? Oh, yeah.
Did he come in to curse on command?
He probably is cursing at his dad right now. I'm so sorry. Continue.
And so we went to see Disney on Ice. And I've seen a lot of children's performances. And a lot of them are really terrible. Like, there's just someone who puts a CD on the screen, and then the characters on the PA system, and the characters just bounce around.
Yeah, you definitely have more experience with that kind of stuff than me and Becky. Yeah. Of like having to be like dragged to these like kiddie performances.
And some are good. Sometimes you see a great band like Rocknoceros, like those guys are local to here. They're fantastic, but they're great musicians and good songwriters. Mm-hmm. Disney on Ice, though, was amazing.
Is that the first time you've ever been?
I've never been to an ice skating show in my life, and if you know anything about me, I do not like most of the Olympics. And I consistently...
And are you saying that most of the Olympics is on ice?
No, the winter... Well, I don't like most of the Olympics anyway, but the Olympic skating, just not something I've ever been interested in.
You don't like skating. Just say you don't like skating.
Skating's lame. The Olympics are lame.
But you liked I, Tonya.
I loved I, Tonya because it was a great movie.
So do you think maybe you enjoyed this more because you've seen I, Tonya, and now you kind of understand skating a little bit?
I think a little bit because
first of all, these people go through a lot.
They work really hard.
These guys are doing so. They did flips and they did ski jumps on their skates, and then they did all of those different moves that the Iron Lotus or whatever it is from Blades of Glory that cuts the guy's head off. They did all of these incredible moves. You had songs that you love, right? Like, come on, you hear "Let It Go" or "Beauty and the Beast," you're gonna get a little misty.
Wasn't just Coco, it was all the Disney stuff.
Yeah, so each section of the show, each 15-minute mark of the show was a different theme from a different movie. So it's kind of like it had a plot, but not really. It had a different review. And the one they did of Coco was amazing. They had giant puppets with skaters running the puppets. They had people on stilts flying all over the place. The production values were absolutely amazing, and the performances were amazing. And all I kept thinking about is Death to Smoochie, the whole time, and how I'm like...
it's amazing how much makes you think of Death to Smoochie.
And I was also sitting there being like, how much better are the Olympics people than these guys? Because these guys are pretty awesome, and I like the songs.
I don't know. Maybe watch the Olympics.
I don't think it's going to is the Olympics going to... Tell me in advance what the track list is, and I'll be interested.
It's some of the songs.
And is someone going to be dressed like Aladdin and the Genie? Because there was an extended Aladdin and Genie skating scene, and it was amazing. That was another... and this is kind of a sad moment, though, because, again, I thought of Death to Smoochie because I was thinking of... Robin Williams was in Death to Smoochie, which was a great performance. I think one of his weirdest, darkest performances, and he was in Aladdin. And so, there was a moment when all the parents...
Are they doing a live-action Aladdin? Who's playing the Genie?
I don't know, but we all...
Will Smith?
All the parents looked at each other and were like, oh, everyone's so sad that he passed. Okay, so now for our main segment today, we're not going to talk about a specific film. We're going to run through a ton of really fun questions and things that we got from our amazing listeners and friends. And the first one, because we're going to go old school, we're going to go origin stories here. We're going to go back to Montreal in the suburbs of Côte Saint-Luc, where we did not grow up, but all of our friends lived. And Alana, one of our dearest friends and listeners and fellow fan of Money Heist, asks us what our...
If she can finish it one day,
Yeah.
Alana, this is for you.
Asks us what our
I
best...
don't know what you're looking at, Beck. You also need to finish it. Becky's watched 2 episodes in 6 months.
I really want to watch it though, so that counts for something.
It's fun. What are your best and worst memories of seeing a movie at the Cavendish Mall? Now, I remember when we were little in the area of the suburbs, there wasn't really a movie theater nearby. And so when that Cavendish Mall movie theater opened up, it was like, oh my goodness, it's going to put all the movie theaters out of business. Everyone was like really excited, and they had cushions. They had
How
head
many
cushions.
movie theaters
yeah.
were there? I feel like there wasn't a lot of movie theaters around where we lived at all.
No,
We lived in the city.
Oh. Anyways, so Cavendish Mall, it was the mall right in the middle of the Jewish neighborhood. It had a bookstore, the mall. It had the Cattleman's where you could get pizza, I think. And
Like
I
kosher
feel like
pizza?
we were there during different eras, Shai.
yeah, fair enough. And Mom and Dad's van once got stolen out of the parking lot.
Because you did not lock it.
That is not true.
And because you were doing music stuff, the 2 benches, or one of the benches from the van was out of the car because you were loading musical equipment. And so we got that extra like van bench in our basement, like hoodlums.
We had a van
for
seat as a
years.
couch in the basement.
Yeah.
So Alana asks what our best and worst movies we saw at the Cavendish Mall, and I immediately had my answer. This was not even...
Clearly, I blocked that out. I don't.
Go-
I'm sure I saw a
have
movie
too
with you
many
guys.
answers. I have too many answers. Shai, you go
We
first.
went on a date to a movie there once, Becky.
That's
What do I
like-
have your memories?
That's my
I was like
worst story.
Wait,
That's like my
I was
worst
texting
movie.
Becky
I actually-
for memories. I was like, Becky, you saw this there and you did that there.
Mhm.
I guess I had no memories of this place.
Becky,
fine. I'll
we
just
need
go
to
first.
start with
I'll just go
Becky's
first.
date at the
Okay.
Cavendish
Yes,
Mall.
Becky went on a
And
terrible date
No,
there.
first of all,
what
okay,
age
my
did you
best
go on
memory.
a date?
Hold on. My
8.
best memory is the Titanic era / Montreal ice storm when nothing was open except the Cavendish Mall, and I just went to go see Titanic over
times.
and over and over again.
That is
That's
right.
the best memory. It's like, oh, you can't go to school? We don't know what to do with you? Go see this 4-hour-long movie as many times as you want.
There was no school for like a month. Nobody went to
Like,
school.
what? And I watched Titanic. Worst memory. I think it was the end of 7th grade. I was not allowed to go on a date because I was like 13. But I, kind of told Mom like a story lie, maybe pretended it was like a group thing. And I insisted and I went on this date. And
No, I know what happened. Okay.
what happened?
Mom said no.
Oh, Mom said no.
And so
I said yes.
Becky just made like a big fuss. Becky did psychological warfare and convinced Mom that she should be allowed to go on this date. And Mom kept being like, "You're too young to go on dates. Like, you're dumb. You're not going on a date." She's like, "Yes, I am. Yes, I am." So she insisted, and Mom was like, "Fine, then go on a date."
So I went on
And
this
it was
date. We
awful.
went to go see Excess Baggage, starring Benicio del Toro
And
Alicia
Reese?
Silverstone.
Oh, Silverstone, not Reese
Silverstone.
Witherspoon.
Which, by the way,
Which is a
like,
great date movie, though. Like, if you
I
think about it
didn't
for a 13.
understand the movie.
Of course you
I thought
didn't.
it was like super weird and boring. It didn't I didn't understand it. I was like way too. I was just like was not
Yeah,
mature.
you would have
It
been better
didn't-
off with a Disney movie.
I
Like
feel like
Aladdin.
there's an Affleck in that movie.
There could be. I mean, I don't know. Probably. It was not. I didn't
Tori
get
and
the
Alicia
movie.
Silverstone is the
I just remember
worst
being
casting.
like, feeling like really uncomfortable, like weird. And then when the date ended, he tried to kiss me, and I got really scared, and I ran away. And I remember Mom picking me up and me being like, "I'm too young to go on a date. You were right."
Oh, that's
and
that is
and
true.
that was it.
That is
And
truly
He
terrible.
never spoke to you again, right? Did you guys not speak?
I mean, I was in 7th grade. I don't really remember the fallout of it. I just remember, being like,
you
I'm
didn't
too
speak
young.
the entire time.
Oh yeah, we
like,
didn't.
Did not speak to each other. Like, he was also probably really nervous. Then there was maybe an awkward moment at the end, and then you were like, "We're done here." And
Yeah,
it was
I'm
just a
like,
bad
"Nah, I'm
scene.
So my best one, probably a similar era because that's around when it opened, was Josh and I went to go. Josh, frequent guest of the podcast, the man with the complaints, Big Josh. We went to go see Mortal Kombat, the first Mortal Kombat movie. We had nothing else to see, so we just thought we'd see it. And I remember just loving it and having a lot of fun and being surprised how much we liked it. And then that was like a found money situation, like in a sense that low expectations, and it ended up being a ton of fun. And then the worst one was a movie that many people will say is one of the worst movies they've ever seen, but it was
Excess baggage?
no, no. Batman and Robin. It is one of the.
Is that the one with the penguin with DeVito as the penguin?
No, that's Batman Returns. Batman and Robin is the one with George Clooney and the nipples and the armor
and Chris O'Donnell
and Alicia Silverstone, by the way.
And Alicia Silverstone. Oh, poor
she
Alicia.
Did not do
she
well.
Did
at the
not
Cavendish
do
Mall.
well.
She had poor Alicia
Cineplex
Silverstone.
Odeon, Cavendish Mall.
There you go. Oof. And
Do you remember the? Yeah, it's okay. Go.
One of the few movies I can remember, the 3 or 4 movies I've ever walked out of, because I will stay through the end of a movie at a movie theater pretty much no matter what, even to the end of the credits. The 3 movies I've walked out of, Destiny Turns on the Radio, starring 3-second cameo of Quentin Tarantino.
I've heard of it.
And Dylan McDermott or Dermot Mulroney.
Jill's not ringing a bell, but okay.
Eyes Wide Shut. Well, we were going to a Fish concert. We just didn't care what happened at the end of the movie. And Batman and Robin, which we just got, once they broke out, right after the ice skating scene, we were like, all right, we're out of here.
We're done here.
And
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So that was the Cavendish Mall. That's for you, Alana. Now, Lindsay, also known as Apharos XII, the amazing artist and guest on our horror movie episode, she asked for my best pancake recipe. And I actually, I'm going to reveal is that I pretty much don't like homemade pancakes. I mean, I do. I mean, it's not like I'm against them. In fact, the only great ones recently were the Williams-Sonoma blueberry mix that Mom made us at home. But in general,
it's still from a mix.
The best pancake recipe I have is to go online, go to aircanada.com, book a flight to Montreal, and go to Beauty's Luncheonette and order the Super Beauty 2. Or just a whole stack of pancakes, because those are the best pancakes in the universe. So that is my
agreed.
That is
I'm
my
like,
recipe.
Air Canada serves pancakes. Air Canada's recipes. As I'm following this, that's my train of thought.
My favorite homemade pancakes, not that anybody asked, but I'm just saying, are Becky's.
And they're on the Everyday Oat blog.
Everyday Oat blog. Go get those
banana
pancakes. They're
oatmeal
so yummy. Super healthy. Becky's own recipe. They're incredible.
All right. Well,
but they're not like a traditional pancake though. It's like
they're like a healthy pancake.
I will be the judge, but I'm intrigued. Becky has never disappointed me with anything she's made, except for the time she used avocado as icing for cookies.
Food coloring for your Yoda cookies. But can you remember the fact that I made you Yoda cookies?
Those were amazing.
How does that get lost in the story?
Haven't been able to eat avocados since. Now, we had 2 requests from Jen and Gato that involved videos of us, and Gato specifically on live commentary on a video. So we have attempted and taped a commentary on some home videos, which we will release separately outside the show, because it's going to require some technical wizardry, and we do not want to take up some time. But Gato, we love you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Yeah, because that was a great suggestion.
And we had a hilarious time doing it. And thank you for suggesting that. And then, we have 2 really important listeners, Lily and Becky, who, when I asked them when I told them I was going to tweet out and ask for people's requests on topics, they thought it meant they should respond. and Becky was,
I'm a listener of the show.
And Becky asked me what did you ask me about the buttery voice?
How do you get your voice so buttery? And I said that you can't tell, because then you'll lose your voiceover contract if you reveal your industry secrets.
It's the diet root beer.
It's the diet root beer.
It's the diet root beer.
And all the practicing you do alone in your bathroom.
That's not the case. But
humming. I can just see you doing those voice exercises.
I don't know. I don't like practicing things. So it's not necessary that I would do that. Okay. And last but not least, our dear friend Dave at Bonsai Retro Club, the first podcast we ever did a crossover. It might have been a crossover with, although we did crossovers with Pam at the Hairspiration Happy Hour early on. Dave sent us a bunch of super fun questions that could be their own show on their own, but we're going to try to tackle them. So, number 1, your top 3 retro movies pre the year 2000. So we've done pre 1980. We did that with Mike Roberts, but pre 2000. So I'll add it by saying, you know, between 1980 and 2000, because Lily and I did the 70s pretty hard.
What's the question? Sorry, my baby started crying.
Your favorite 1980 to 2000 movie.
That's like my entire
really
life.
hard.
How could you just say that?
You just don't know you just don't know your favorite movies. Return of the
I know my
Jedi,
favorite
Donnie Brasco, Weird Al's UHF.
You know what's weird? I feel like when I was in my 20s, I was much more passionate and specific about my list of favorite movies. And I feel like that list, I haven't gone back and like checked in with how true that list still feels to me.
Well, that was just my gut list. That was my gut list.
I definitely feel like in every decade, you know, or every like few years, I would have a different list. But I mean, Never Ending Story is up there. Yeah, for me, like the movies that will always stand the test of time. Breakfast Club, probably watched that 1,000 million times. You know what I mean? Like, there's just certain movies. There's Never Ending Breakfast Club. Let's see, there's got to be
the Breakin' Saga.
I was gonna say that.
That could kind of count as one movie because it's together as long as what a movie is today.
You know, but then there's like that one spot for this sort of, you know, could be like there's, you know, you threw in Donnie Brasco. It's pretty eclectic.
How many
your
did you
list,
get to
Shai.
pick?
Three. I gave 2. Working on my third one.
I mean,
if you asked me several years ago, it would have been The Little Mermaid, but I don't feel that way now.
No, that's a good choice, though.
It's a great movie, but it's not like my favorite movie now. It was back then.
Yeah. I mean, it always used to be Reality Bites and Say Anything. Those were really like 2 of my all-time favorites. But I feel like it's a long time since I've like checked back in with how they still feel to me today.
You guys don't just sit around thinking about like what your favorite movies are.
It evolves.
That's fine, but I think
Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorite movies.
Oh yeah, the first time I had ever heard of the Criterion Collection was when Lily got the Criterion Collection DVD of the Royal Tenenbaums and like opened it up and showed me all of the cool stuff that was in it. Becky? No,
awesome.
No other.
Sorry, no, she's crying. I'm watching her on the monitor. That's why I'm a little bit distracted during this bit.
But
I don't know. I feel like lately I've seen so many interesting movies, and there's like directors whose work that I love these days. Right? 2000. Oh, it's true. Before 2000. Oof.
I mean, Bottle Rocket's amazing too. Now that I said, you know, any Coen
bombs.
Bottle Rocket? That's the movie you're going to say is one of your favorite movies?
I'm just saying,
when was the last time you watched Bottle
Wes
Rocket?
Anderson.
Rushmore is better.
Rushmore is better, but then there's like Fargo. I was talking about Fargo the other day with somebody. I'm like, that movie's amazing.
I do not like that movie, and
I love that movie.
I love that movie. Upsets me.
Pulp Fiction. Hello, how could you not say? That's before 2000, right?
Yeah,
Pulp Fiction.
It's 90.
It's amazing, but it still kind of upsets me.
I think that movie's amazing, though. I mean, so it's Reservoir Dogs. There's just so many, but like top 3 you could watch anytime, anywhere.
I just feel wholly unprepared to answer this off the cuff.
Okay, well,
I mean,
they did
ask.
That's why people submitted in advance, and I sent you the questions. Yes. But that's okay.
It's not that I feel unprepared. It's just that it's very hard for me to narrow it down. But like I could just say just a bunch of John Hughes movies. Those movies I'll watch any day, anytime. They're my definite favorites.
Okay.
Yeah, I would definitely say, Say Anything really just is a very, very special movie to me. I think I still know it off by heart. And Reality Bites for sure. And then I would probably want to think of something like a little bit later 90s to round it out. So I don't have a third yet in mind, but yeah.
It's funny you mentioned Pulp Fiction because I do have to say, at the time when Pulp Fiction came out, I don't remember loving a movie as a teenager as much as that movie. And that
you said you didn't like it that much.
How much you loved
what?
it.
No, I was talking about Fargo that I don't like. Pulp Fiction's amazing.
I know Pulp Fiction. I thought you said it. Okay, no, Pulp Fiction is amazing.
But at the time, it was mind blowing. I had never seen anything like that in my life.
I don't think very few films were made like that ever before that film was made.
I had never seen anything like that, and I remember going back to see it with Mom and Dad.
You know what? I would say. God, what's wrong? I would definitely say Big Lebowski is my third, as like a later 90s favorite. That's got to be late 90s, 98, 99. right? That's got to be but by
I
the
don't
2000 cutoff for sure. For sure. I'm going to put Big Lebowski. Yeah. That movie I can watch over and over again.
All right. The other thing, the next thing is that Dave asks is after seeing Cobra Kai.
98.
After seeing Cobra Kai, who are you rooting for going forward, Johnny or Daniel?
I think that's a brilliant question. I was really soul searching. Part of you immediately wants to be like, well, Johnny, like I do want to. The best episode of that whole season was Johnny's perspective episode. I thought that was so brilliant and so fun where they turned it on its head. And there you are like, this kid is like an annoying brat. This like the Daniel kid. He like gets in somebody's biz for no reason, picks a fight, definitely beats up somebody that's way better at fighting than him. Gets everybody wet at a Halloween party when they're just trying to smoke a joint and like be chill.
I think they're doing coke.
No, they're smoking a joint. They're not doing coke. He's like rolling a joint
Honestly,
in the bathroom.
I'm so unaware of those things. I thought he was chewing gum.
Anyways, the point is that like Daniel, like that episode makes you feel like Daniel's a bit of a punk, but no matter what, you always got to root for Daniel.
And he teaches the Miyagi way. He
teaches the Miyagi way.
Yeah. The Miyagi way, and so I think ultimately,
I'm not rooting against Johnny. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm for Daniel and against Johnny. I definitely am always at heart rooting for Daniel.
I think I'm rooting for them as a team.
Well,
I hope they team up against the evil sensei.
If I have to pick one, though, I'm picking Daniel. I mean, nice of Johnny, but he's done a lot of terrible things.
Exactly.
Including,
he's done a lot of terrible things.
Including still mistrain that kid and turn him into like a killing machine, right? Like
killing machine, and you know his broken relationship with his own son, and Daniel's still teaching the Miyagi way.
And now Dave finally asks if we could go in a DeLorean, the car from Back to the Future, travel back in time to a specific time, when would you travel to?
Can I say Outlander Scotland with Jamie?
I guess
only
you
if
can.
he's there.
I guess you can.
Correct.
Before or after he had all of his
That
fingers
is the
broken
answer.
and he
Sorry,
was
that was
named.
it. That was
the correct answer.
Pass fail answer. That was
and I passed is what you're saying.
Answered for everyone. We all agree.
We can move on now, right? Okay, that's what the real answer was. Correct. I don't know. I feel like go. Where would you go?
Where would you go, Shai?
To just keep it really simple, I would really like to go back and see REM on more shows on the Monster Tour. Or maybe the Green Tour. If I'm going to keep it like really not too philosophical, if I think about things that I want to go back in time and see, they would be things that happen in a specific moment.
I see what you're saying.
But
I would take the two of you to Queen. Like if we could all go back to go to a show, we're going to Queen. The three of us.
That's a good one.
See, I disagree. I would go see Oprah in her heyday.
Okay. See,
so I want to go back and just be like, I'm feeling inspired today. I'm at Oprah.
I'm thinking about going to see something that I couldn't see otherwise, but not traveling back into a time where like there isn't air conditioning. So that's why I couldn't.
We know you're definitely not going. Forget Outlander. You're not going like the pre-1960s, like ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no chance. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening. It means the world to us. Thank you for participating in this episode. We're now going to talk about what we've been watching, which is jam-packed. So, first of all, have you all seen... So, a little Star Wars news. Jon Favreau... By the way, I'm getting really sick of these first look set photo leaks. Like, it's like Lily with the trailer. This is even less interesting.
They're dropping the trailer.
Here's someone in a costume, and then everyone has to wear it.
And also, they all just look like Boba Fett, let's be honest. Like, they just redo the same costume. I'm like, you guys have bajillion dollars. Hire somebody to invent a new costume. So annoying.
So
I'm like, it's about... I thought I was like, they're making a Boba Fett show. And then they're like, the show is clearly about the titled character Mandalorian. And I was like, is it though? Have you seen the picture? Because that's hilarious.
So just to give you a little background on that, Jon Favreau is doing a live action show, and it's called The Mandalorian, which sounds like it's going to be like The Gunslinger. And the Mandalorians is the planet that Boba Fett is from, and that's the armor is called Mandalorian armor.
So it is about Boba Fett.
No, he's not. I don't think he's in it. I think it's another.
So it's about Boba Fett people?
It's about Boba Fred. I don't know. It's some other It's his planet, the Mandalorian. I gotta say, I'm really not excited for this. I think this is like an overdone thing. At this point, that costume is not even as cool as the costumes I see other people when they make these like different variations of Boba Fett's costume at Comic-Cons. They make like these like amazing. Like I saw one mixed with the Predator.
Like I said,
yeah,
they could put their budget into that.
Yeah. So we're at. Yeah, okay. So we're in the same level of excited for this, guys.
Like Disney's milking this for all it's worth. They're starting their own streaming platform, and they're like, "Oh, YouTube had Karate Kid, we have Star Wars."
Yeah,
like
the Mandalorian.
You know what, right? But they're like, "We have Star Wars, and we're just gonna wring this out as much as possible." What YouTube did with Karate Kid, no one can do. Like, do you know what I mean?
Keeping it authentic.
Keeping it authentic, your own streaming service, like going back to roots, picking up something that like is lost in our culture, pop culture, and Star Wars is just like, oh my god, enough.
I mean,
I would have been happier if they started on their own streaming service with like an original new thing that was like awesome.
Yeah, like when Netflix brought us Troll Hunters or something like that.
Sure.
I mean, for me,
like any of the other original content that these streaming services have made. But like, just gonna ride those coattails, I guess, forever.
So in this family, though, we have a lot of faith in J.J. Abrams that he's going to save. Did
you see what I wrote on my notes?
No, I'd like
about this.
So there's a new movie coming out.
You should probably read them.
There's a new movie coming out called Overlord. Have you ever seen the? Becky's like dealing with a home invasion over there. It looks like.
Sorry, my dog. Okay, yeah. My dog is having some issues and needed to be let out.
So there's this new movie coming out, Overlord, and I've sat in the theater and seen the commercials for this now a couple times, where it starts off as just like your typical World War II Dirty Dozen invading behind the scenes, and then it quickly descends into this like body horror zombie movie. But J.J. Abrams is producing it, so I'm very interested.
JJ's on board. You're going to give it a shot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing. This is what I wrote.
Star Wars movies. The 2 movies that we're anticipating he'll make?
I hope he makes 2. I really hope he makes 2. But anyways, this Nazi.
Yeah, so Shai, you said it's about like the Nazis do an experiment. They're doing these experiments. So when they're fighting the Nazis, they're also fighting like zombies.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: is that I would trust JJ to make my next baby. Like that guy can do anything. So. I will watch him do anything. I'll support him making anything because he's like golden. However, I have this, with just the premise, like you pitch me this premise, imagine like, right, you're like, oh, this is what this movie's about. You don't mention JJ, and I'm like, aren't Nazis scary enough? Like, do we need zombies in a World War II movie? I feel like they maybe should have picked a different,
They're just putting everything in it.
I guess. I'm just sort of like, got Nazis. Not much is more scary. And also, if they're experiments, then they're just like Jewish zombies running around.
Oh God, Lily. There were a lot of people. There were a lot of people that terrible things happened to in World War II.
Sure. Okay. So not just Jews, but like then all the poor people that like were horribly treated in World War II and had experiments done on them. I'm like, now I'm kind of rooting for the zombies in this movie. I don't know. I find it's a very like weird thing to mix zombie with like World War II. So
maybe it's a commentary.
Maybe it is. Maybe like that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not gonna knock it or like be against this movie or anything. It just the premise to me is confusing. So I'm curious how they're gonna execute it.
Right, now this is a horror movie, Lily. One of your great family traditions of your family in Spain is seeing horror movies.
That's my original family. Mm-hmm. My married into family.
And so, have you had to watch any with your mother-in-law in town?
Yes. And remember how you said how your daughter reacted to a movie she was scared last week, and she ran to the theater but went the wrong way and then got stuck and was just like, That was me in my own living room last night, except I didn't make as big of a deal as her because I'm an adult. But I almost was like, "Where's the door? Where's the door to my bedroom?" And I left. I was like, you know what, guys? I don't need this shit. I was like, I'm in this family. I gave you people a grandchild and nephew. I'm out.
I don't know why. That doesn't sound like
I was like had a headache and I was sick, and I just had to I went and sat in my room and watched Outlander. It wasn't even that scary, but it was this Helen Mirren one, the Winchester.
Unnecessary. It's just like unnecessary.
It's just sort of like Helen Mirren's can be pretty scary, and it's just one of those where there's like scary demons coming out like every 5 seconds.
Just like babies in a crib, and then they go to check on the baby, and it becomes a spider demon.
Exactly, stuff like that.
Somebody's crawling on the ceiling, and their head turns backwards.
Sure. So it's like that kind of scary stuff, which is to me is better than people like getting hacked up. But I was just not in the mood. Plus, they start watching movies at like 1 a.m. here. So Shai, you would never make
at the scariest time of night. So you're like
scariest time of night, exactly.
Like I will watch a scary movie on a Sunday morning after brunch. That's when I will watch a scary movie.
You definitely could not have watched this movie. It's based on a true story, which like I know that's kind of dumb, but that still kind of gets you, right? Like they write it's based on a true story.
Like
make you Google it. And I'm sitting there Googling for the first 20 minutes.
You're just like reading the Wikipedia page.
Yeah, and I'm like, guys, I'm doing research. Okay, I need to know what really happened, and I'm just sitting there Googling it.
Wow. Okay, Beck. How about? So, what's the name of this movie, by the way? It's just Helen Winchester. Oh.
It's about this like the heiress to the Winchester gun fortune, who really existed and has a house, this very famous mansion that they said was haunted in San Jose, California. And it's still there, and you can go visit it.
Enough.
I live in California.
Enough. We're moving on.
I'm with you. But I don't think we've learned a lesson about going to California. So,
all of California
Becky,
is now off limits.
Becky, you been watching anything?
Yeah,
that does not count as what I've been watching, because I have other stuff.
Oh, okay. What else have you been watching?
No. Go to Becky. I'll come back.
Becky, what have you been watching?
I'm watching a little bit of a lot of different things, and I will tell you why. I did a marathon Riverdale. Finished season 1.
We have to.
Shai and I are going to start.
To be clear. Lons, who is a co-host of the Gold Nerds, like we're already booking this. She is coming on, and we're going to do a deep dive on Riverdale and the shared universe with the whole CW world. No question.
Is it a really shared universe?
No, but we're just pretending it is. It's amazing.
We're imagining.
It's insane, that show.
Finished that, and then I've done like a smattering of other things. Watched like a couple more eps of season 3 Insecure. It's good. Keeping me busy. Then I tried to start watching season whatever we're on of Orange is the New Black, and it's just like took me like 2 weeks to get through the first episode. It's just gotten really tortury and dark.
I stopped watching it the last season because it was just so gross.
So I gotta tell you, I do not feel motivated to keep watching. I think I'm kind of done with that. So, that's about it. So I watched that. I was traveling. Oh, I started watching again Shameless season 200. Really feeling like I don't care about that show anymore. I mean, that is totally turned into.
Is it back or did you? It's back. Oh,
look, I love that show.
I'll watch that show till the end. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it without her though. Probably will. Yeah.
I mean,
no, but you see, starting this new season, you're like, none of these storylines are like tired by the time you start this season.
She's amazing.
The characters are a little. She is amazing.
They're all amazing actors, but I think that story is sort of. We're running out of room unless they're going to really evolve things.
Yeah, I think they're trying to do it.
Jumping the shark.
It just sort of feels a little bit like, why do I still care? So
also, like, isn't 8 seasons legit for a show? Like, why do shows need to go Grey's Anatomy long?
We have that much story left to tell. So I think it's been a tough week because the whole Riverdale thing was super fun, and there's all this other content out there. I just haven't felt.
Your brain has turned to crap after watching that show?
Becky and I blitzed through.
Nothing can keep up with it.
Becky and I blitzed through the end of the season of that show. Yeah. And again, however many people got killed in Winchester were murdered by teenagers in Riverdale in the last 3 episodes.
Or teenagers witnessed their murder.
This is a good moment to talk about the glossary because you guys are show-barrassing me at this point.
This is exciting news. Lil, why don't you tee up this project we've been working on all year that's going to help kick off the new year of episodes?
So we, through this last year of podcasting, have, I would say, I'm not sure what the right adjective is, but creatively or just out of our own stupidity, I'm not sure how it is, kind of have come up with all these terms and words that we use to describe our very intimate relationship with movies and television. And there just isn't enough vocabulary out there that represents all the things we feel and do. And we have a few games that we've invented. So the glossary is basically a place where you can go and get the explanation and definition for our wildly inventive terms that describe our experience of watching TV.
For example, buy, rent,
and a few games.
tradesies, show embarrassment, Castaway.
Yeah, what was the new one we just came up with, Shai?
Oh, I forgot what it was called.
Show Sanity.
Show Sanity. Is that what happened with us?
Riverdale is gone. Show Sanity.
Oh yeah, Show Sanity is the new one. That's basically
Show Sane.
Show Sanity.
Show Sanity is what Riverdale's musical episode is, and then the show the show clearly decided to go crazy and oh, crazy's good. Let's just make it crazier.
Put everything in there.
So no, not the glossary. Although at this point, there's too many things in the glossary that have to do with Riverdale. So.
So we're gonna post the glossary. We're gonna put it out on social media this week, and we're gonna also have it up on the website at pancakefortable.com so that people can play along when we are doing this, and so when we have guests in the coming year, they can read ahead because it's now getting to be quite the library of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Lily, you also mentioned, are you watching, which one of you is watching Quincy, like the show with Jack Klugman about the medical examiner?
No, it's just that I watched Quincy, the documentary that Rashida Jones made about her dad, and it premiered on Netflix this week. It's just a very cool doc. And Shai was concerned that there might not be enough Rashida Jones in it, but she's in it quite a bit, and there's a bunch of baby pictures. So that's what your goal is. But as a music fan, Shai, I know you're a huge music fan.
Oh, I love music.
I mean, he's just this somebody from another world. This character, this person, the life he had, the childhood trauma, the survival skills, and how he's self-taught. It's just an incredible story. And it's very cool that I think so many times there's documentaries that are made when the person's gone. And I think it's really cool that it's his daughter who did it. And there's so much of him narrating it and him being involved in it, which is awesome. One
could say this podcast is the Quincy of our parents.
Sure.
Because they're around. They come on. We make fun of them.
Oh, sure.
I guess. I would say she doesn't make as much fun of her dad as we do. But the other thing... Oh, sorry, you were going to say?
No, go ahead.
The other thing that I was watching that is a very strange thing to do is when I have my in-law fam visit, they in this case my mom-in-law likes to have a show. So imagine you have a guest that visits you and it's I want to watch a show with you guys, so they can't come in on, I have one episode of Maniac left. I'm not gonna have her watch I'm not gonna rewatch the whole show.
Restart Outlander with her. She would love it.
She would love it, but I have to be able to finish a show in 1 week because she doesn't have Netflix, or she actually it's very hard where she lives to have internet. So
that's a lot of pressure. What do you recommend? It's a lot of pressure.
So you have to get a show that has about 7 to 8 episodes in it. You can't even do a 13 because she's only here for 6 days. So you have to do a few nights of 2 episodes. Right? It has
I love
to be
this game. I want this kind of guest.
This is such a good challenge. This should be a game.
Try's just visit me.
Game.
A guest comes and you have to start and finish a show.
You have to start and finish. It's a challenge. In 7 days that she's here, you have to start and finish a show because you can't leave it hanging. Like Mom and Dad and I, when they visited me, we've started a whole bunch of shows that then we each finish on our own. Like Killing Eve, we finished on our own because we didn't get to finish it in a week. And they have TV. She doesn't. So
that would have been a good one.
Yeah, but I've already seen it. And Jose won't watch the same show twice. Plus, the demands have to be, there has to be either killing, mystery, suspense, or zombies, or sci-fi. This is what I was given to work with. So,
you can pick any one of those shows that gets canceled that Josh watches. Just watch the first season.
Josh. Josh, what should we watch? But there was that show Altered Carbon that's on Netflix that looks sci-fi or whatever. But also that looks like a piece of shit. So I was like, but dude, you asked me for sci-fi, mystery, killing. That's where you go. There's 8 episodes. We're done. I just wanted to get the criteria enough, right?
Yeah,
for these guys. Plus, I have to watch a dub, so I don't want it to be anything too good. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to have to watch something I'd really want to watch dubbed.
Oh, yeah.
Because she needs subtitles. So we have to watch it dubbed. And it's like very challenging. There's just one show I heard. Have you guys heard about this? The Innocents, recommended to you by anybody?
So you haven't picked a show yet?
Oh no, we already did. We finished it.
What'd you
finished
do?
it 2 days early. I'm like, that's an accomplishment.
Because I would have said
Just tell us what you watched.
The Sinner.
I never heard
Oh,
of
The
it.
Sinner.
Steph had recommended
How was
it.
that?
That mystery show where Jessica
Yeah,
Biel
I
tells
almost
somebody
started watching it.
a why done it, not a who done it.
Who
The whole
recommend-
mystery is
Was
why
it good?
she.
Because Mom and Dad are going to come on Wednesday. We could start watching that.
Yeah,
Who recommended
it's only 8 episodes. Steph.
it? Oh, cool. That's awesome.
But Steph made a good point. She was like, I liked it, but Jessica Biel's too pretty to believe that that she could do something like that. Like, 'cause she's so pretty that, like, during the show, I don't know if I agree with that, Steph, because I feel like, yes, she's pretty, but I think she did a great job. My only problem is, and I'd love for you to see it, Becky, so you could let me know, I can't tell if Bill Pullman forgot how to act or he's bad dubbed. So you just have to
No,
let me know, Becky.
Bill Pullman's awesome. Okay, I've
He
got
must be awesome.
I've got a couple just to mention. Fortune Rookie on IFC with Janet Varney, who is also on Stand Against Evil, is hilarious, and it's only 8-minute episodes. It's 8-minute episodes, and the premise is
Awesome.
that she stopped acting and became a psychic. And the cameo, this is one of those times where the cameos are actually amazing because they're her actual friends and they are hilarious. There's Scott Adsit, who is in 30 Rock. There's Deborah Baker Jr., who's on Stand Against Evil with her. Fred Armisen is in the opening scene, and he's hilarious. So I love this show immediately, and it's. I hope they make it into a full series, or they just give us a ton more episodes, because it is great, and she wrote and produced it, and is amazing. So that one I highly recommend. It's really funny, and if you're looking for something quick, go for it. Something that makes me really, really want to hurl myself into traffic is something called Toys Unlimited on YouTube that my kids have been watching because of Lily, which is just videos of people playing with toys, as if they're real. On the other hand, it's like super exciting. Like if I were a kid, that's exactly what I've done. So now I'm at home having to produce our own videos of my kids playing with their toys. Thank you. And then last but not least, I knocked off 3 movies in the last 24 hours. Skyscraper with The Rock, which is The Rock versus a giant building, should have been way better. It made no sense. It is a huge meh. And The Rock was not, and The Rock was not charming in it. He was just like saving the day the whole time. So as much as I love him, it's just a lot of.
He did not bring a.
Yeah.
He did not bring his national treasureness to it.
I saw Lilo and Stitch for the first time ever, which.
We could do a whole episode on how great that movie
Happy
is.
Crying.
Please.
Happy Crying is where how everyone was at the end of that movie. That movie was
very popular
amazing.
in Spain. I said, I know a lot. I know too many people with Stitch.
It was
tattoos.
fantastic, and it's just a Disney movie that I must have missed over the years, and it is really one of the best ones. I love it, and the kids loved it. They were taken by it. And then finally, making good on a recommendation from Lindsay from a long time ago, Neon Dream with Elle Fanning.
Neon Demon,
that's it. Sorry, Neon Demon with Elle Fanning.
Oh, how was that?
How was it?
So I would give
Should I watch that with my in-laws tonight? They asked me for another scary
here's the
freaking
thing.
movie.
I give it a rent, meaning I watch it on Amazon streaming. The thing is that it's a 2-hour movie that's very slow, a lot of interesting shots, a lot of suspense.
Becky will like it.
You're not really sure what's going on. I really want to know what Becky thinks about it.
I love movies where I don't know what's going on, actually.
The last 20 minutes is so gross. Like, I wasn't sure when it was going to turn into a horror movie, and it does in the last 20 minutes. And I was like, ooh, super gross. But in it, Keanu Reeves has a very, very small role playing a very aggressive, mean character, and it was probably some of the best acting I've ever seen from him. So I don't think this movie was by any means perfect. Like, it's a solid rent if you know what you're getting into, which is
Was it scary? Were you scared?
I wasn't really scared as much as it's psychologically very scary. It's about, it's got all sorts of meaning and metaphors in it, but it's about a young woman who goes out to LA to join the modeling industry, and it's about how crazy that is, but in it's very quiet, except then they have like really intense like EDM music playing at different times. So in some senses it feels like a movie where everything's happening as you'd expect it. But the acting in it is really good and it's interesting, but again, slow burn. You, Lily, with your in-laws, just pick it up in the last 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Just watch the last 20 minutes.
Show them.
Tell them it's a short TV show. All right. We've given so many shout-outs throughout the show, so I just want to, again, thank everybody for listening and participating this whole year. We're so grateful, and here's to another year. And thank you to my two sisters. I love you guys so much.
Shout out to you guys for being such great
I want to shout out to like cousin Vanessa, who supported us since the beginning, and Shelly, who consistently every week texts us her entire.
I love it. I don't think I responded this week, but Shell, I loved
she sent me like a whole voice message this week, which was hilarious. I'm loving her like breakdown.
Short essays about each episode.
And thank you to those two people, and then everybody and you guys who've kept us.
Shout out to Shai and Lily.
The effort, because 3 time zones is not easy, so thank you for accommodating.
And to our parents, who, when you look back at the home videos, you realize it's like they were training us for this, or allowing us to train ourselves for this. So Becky, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at PaperBKPrincess.
And Lily, where people
can follow me on not on Chi K Gomez. That doesn't sound correct. You can follow me at Chi K Gomez, and I have been very active on Twitter in the last 24 hours.
You have been.
So
I'm trying to get more active.
Lily's big Twitter days are usually the day or two before we tape, because she likes to go back through and answer questions and things like that. So it's as opposed to me, where I'm kind of on throughout the whole week. So if people really want the Lily wisdom, Friday to Sunday is the best time. And you can follow me at Pancake4Table on Twitter and Instagram. Everything that you hear here can be found at pancake4table.com. I also appear with my dear friend Ash on Behind the Music podcast, and now I am a regular cast member of the Gold Nerds podcast, where we talk about the gold.
Exciting.
Where we talk about the gold.
So
Nerds every week.
So funny. Highly recommend that.
And that is with Lons and Ash, and it is a thrill to be a part of that. And the music from What Does It Eat will kick in, and we will dance. Get that dancing ready. Do those dance moves. See you guys next week. Love you.
Love you
guys. Happy anniversary.
Happy Podiversary.
Podiversary.